The African Union just made a move on Burkina Faso. But this is not diplomacy, it's a power battle for the future of Africa. Why is the African Union suddenly knocking on Burkina Faso's door? Because this is bigger than it looks. 3 years ago, Burkina Faso walked away from the old power structure, teaming up with Mali and Niger to form their own alliance. No ECOWAS, no outside pressure, just control. But now the African Union is stepping in. And when an organization that suspended you suddenly shows up again, it's not random. It means something has changed. The question is, are they trying to fix things or take back control? In order to get a better understanding of this, let's take a trip down memory lane. In September 2022, Burkina Faso experienced a coup backed by Ibrahim Traoré that led to the African Union suspending them and demanding respect for the Burkinabe constitution, aka go back to democracy. The time of the coup, Burkina Faso was a breathing ground for jihadist insurgency, as well as the entire Sahel. The African Union feared the spread of terrorism and military coups in the region. On the other side, they faced enormous pressure from the international community. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger formed their own bloc and signed a mutual defense pact, and officially withdrew from ECOWAS in January 2025. They positioned themselves as independent from Western influence. This wasn't just politics, it was rebellion against the system. The African Union in Burkina Faso isn't a friendly visit. It's about keeping their influence from slipping. The African Union has completely lost control of the Sahel and fear that the instability of coups will keep spreading in Africa. US, China, Russia, and others are all competing in the region, and the African Union is watching all of this unfold in real time. When power starts shifting, the big players don't stay quiet. Africa is dividing into blocks. You have the African Union and the Alliance of Sahel States. The other one gets 60% of its funding from Europe, while the other one is fully independent. It's old institution versus the new alliance. When institutions created to develop and lead Africa to greatness fail, it's up to the new alliances like the AES to step up. On the 20th of April 2026, the acting president of the African Union, President of Burundi, touched down in Ouagadougou for a meeting with Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the president of the Alliance of Sahel States. General Evariste Ndayishimiye and his delegation led talks with the president of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. After the talks concluded, this is what he had to say.
I'd like to thank my brother, President Ibrahim Traoré, and the Burkinabe people for the very warm welcome that has been extended to me and my delegation since our arrival. In my experience, I found Burkina to be a country that has become remarkably peaceful and stable, with incredibly warm and hospitable people who greeted us with such genuine and heartfelt joy. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate my brother, Comrade Ibrahim Traoré, for his courage, his dedication, and his commitment to peace and stability in his country. What I found clearly demonstrates that the people are united behind the institutions to fight the common enemy. I also congratulate the Burkinabe people for their patriotic spirit and their support behind their president. Here, I have come as the president of the African Union, and I am also pleased to have met my brother, also as the president of the Alliance of... As you know, Africa has decided to send me as an emissary of the African Union to the Sahel region. This also shows that the spirit of the African Union is beginning to see clearly the true unity of the African Union. It is true that African countries each have their own particular problems, each with its own specificities. Burkina Faso also has challenges, but challenges do not prevent unity from remaining, nor do they prevent solidarity from enduring. That is why the African Union must form a strong bond that will unite the Burkinabe people with the African people, Burkinabe institutions with other African institutions. So I have indeed come to cement this bridge to discuss various issues, especially those concerning the fight against terrorism in the Sahel region, but also the path to stabilizing these countries, and also how to restore the good relations that should exist between the Sahel states and the African Union. The discussions went very well, and now I know the reality, objectively, of the region of Israel and also of the Burkinabe people. And I intend to write a good report. It will be an objective report that I will present to the African Union. And I hope that based on this report, relations will once again be strengthened, and together we can move toward a shared future.
This shows that the African Union is not ready to let go of the Sahel. This shows that it's the AU versus AES power struggle, a fight over who controls Africa's direction. This isn't just a visit, it's a signal, and what happens next could reshape the Sahel.